All right, so Filip Hrgovic beats Joe Joyce on a 10 round unanimous decision. One of the scorecards was a little bit too wide when you look at it. It's like 98, 92. That is a little bit too wide. One of them was 96, 95, so you only had a point in it. I can see how some people, because Frank Warren in the immediate aftermath said he felt this fight was close. He didn't dispute the decision, but he said he felt it was a very close fight. And I can see where he gets that from, to be fair. At the end of the day, right, he's not saying that because, oh, my guy lost or anything like that. It was an in-house fight. They're both with Queensbury. So Frank Warren is saying that you would imagine as objectively as you would envision him speaking, as objectively as you would envision him speaking. It was I felt Hrgovic was the rightful winner. I've no issue with him getting the nod. Hrgovic commented that he couldn't believe how tough Joe Joyce is. And honestly, I've said that in the run up to this fight that I felt that a lot of people are maybe looking a bit too much into Joe Joyce being damaged, is the word I used, in a sense of, I've met Joe Joyce in person, I've interviewed him, and he's always been a kind of, and he's even a couple of years ago, you asked him a question. Yeah, I think that's just his manner. I think that's just the way he is. Having said that, he gets hit way too much. And in this fight, it wasn't even funny at times how many right hands he was taking. But it's not even the fact he was getting hit so much. The first thing I noticed in there, immediately from the first bell, was Joe Joyce didn't have his legs underneath him. Now, that didn't mean that he was, wobbly legs, he was stunned. It just looked like the legs weren't behaving the way he wanted them to. It was almost as if that he looked, essentially what I'm saying, he looked a shot fighter in there. He didn't look shot in terms of stamina. His shot selection was the same as it always is. But in terms of how his feet looked, his legs looked, they looked shot to bits. And there was times he was way off balance. There was times where he was just moving across the ring or trying to chase Hrgovic across the ring, and his legs were just all over the place. And you got to remember, Joe Joyce throughout the course of his career, he's always had good foot. Well, he's always had decent feet in terms of, for a big guy. They've always been reasonably quick. He's been able to do things. You take that away on top of everything else. I mean, he's not got much to begin with. You've not got a great foundation. I mean, that foundation is gone now. Looking at how his feet looked in there, they looked awful, absolutely awful. From early on, it was apparent that Hrgovic was going to have a field day with the right hand, a bit like how he did against Daniel Dubois. But I got the impression that he was very much circumspect about his stamina. It was something that he was really taking into consideration in this fight, because early on he was letting right hands go, he was landing them, he was hitting Joe Joyce almost at will with the right hand. It was crazy how many big right hands he took. Honestly, it was absolutely insane. But then as the fight progressed, he started to do almost a Derek Chisora, we'll call it, where he would lay on the ropes, Joe Joyce would tee off on him, and by doing that, it doesn't give the best, it's not the best look to give when you're, a fighter and a judge is looking and he's just seeing you on the ropes, and yeah, you're throwing a jab, you're throwing a right hand, but you're just getting hit and you're hit and you're hit and you're hit and you're hit again. It doesn't look good from the viewing point of a fan or a judge who's trying to score this fight, objectively speaking, right? And that's what Hrgovic was doing. Joe Joyce was teeing off on him at times. Although Hrgovic, once he started letting the right hands go, they just landed and landed and landed. It was crazy how many right hands he landed. And as the fight progressed, when I thought, the longer this fight went, I thought that it would be more of a Joyce fight because he's better equipped for the distance, for the 10 round distance anyway. The later this fight went, it was more Hrgovic doing what he wanted to do. He seemed to just either nick around or he would just be in control for the majority of the round. That's what he was doing. The zone commentary were saying his body language didn't look right. I never felt that. I felt that he looked wary at times about not gassing himself, but he never looked sorry for himself. Certainly from what I seen, that didn't appear to be the case. He looked like he was a fighter who was fighting on a month's notice and just wanted to be very wary about the stamina and his punch output. Joe Joyce, honestly, it's not for me to say, it never is, what a fighter should do, but I can just give my opinion, and it would be fork, stick in him, done. I don't want to see him take shots like that again. I don't think he's got it that bad. I think someone like Chisora's speech is more noticeably bad, but I don't want him to I don't want it to get bad. I don't want it to get to a point where you start noticing it. Oh, now I notice it from Joe Joyce, his speech isn't the best. Oh, now I can see what people are saying. I don't want it to get to that. I want him to quit while he's ahead of the game. I think he's ahead of the game now. Leave. Frank Warren kind of said it without saying it. We need to see what he wants to do in here. He's a great ambassador to the sport, this, that, and the other. kind of insinuating that he would like Joe Joyce to retire. I'd like him to retire. Joe Joyce basically said it was a close fight, we're 1-1, let's do it again. No, I think he needs to bow out, call it a day, that's it. Joe Joyce had a great run where he got wins over Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker, and those wins have aged like a good wine. But at the end of the day, his mistakes was he was limited in terms of defense. It ultimately caught up on him. He fought a monstrous Herculean puncher, and he's never been right since then. And I think now at 39, legs don't look right, taking beatings, getting hit all the time. Just call it a day. That's what I gotta say. Think of your family, think of your future. You've made a lot of money from boxing. You've had a pay-per-view fight. You've done it all except being a world champion, but your Olympic silver medalist should have been gold. Call it a day. Retire safe. Just be done. Just be happy. That's what I gotta say to Joe Joyce, and I think that's what he should do, truth be told. But I want to know what you guys think. What did you think of the fight? How did you score it? There was moments, it was an enjoyable fight, but there was no real moments of drama, I felt. The only kind of dramatic moment was when Hrgovic's cut reopened, but the corner did a very, very good job stemming the flow. It was looking quite bad at one stage, but again, they stemmed the flow very well. That's the only real kind of moment of the fight where I was like, ooh, something's up. Other than that, it was just same old, same old. So again, as I say, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, people, I really hope you enjoyed the video. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, as always, if you haven't already. We will talk more about this tomorrow. But for now, peace. And thank you for 23k. We hit 23k tonight. Yes, I appreciate it. Let's get to 25. Let's get to 24 and 25. Thank you so much. Peace again.